Hello all, good afternoon and good evening to all the participants, our speaker and the team from Asset Migration Services. First of all, thank you all for joining this webinar. Myself, Nikhila, Migration Specialist of Asset Migration Services. So today's webinar, we will discuss how to migrate to Australia as an IT professional. So this will be a 60-minute session, which will cover all the details on the topic. And also in the end, we'll be having a Q&A session in which you can ask all the major doubts regarding migration. And the participants may type their questions in the chat box and we'll have them answered. And any questions that remain unanswered because of the time constraint, we will take them offline. And moving further, let me introduce you to the flow of the webinar. We will introduce Asset Global and its services, which will be followed by our speaker, Mr. Matthews David. So we do serve these services. These are the services that we provide: asset migration, asset education, and asset infotech. And also, Asset has two directors, and one is Matthews, and he's director and co-founder, and he's also a registered migration agent. And Sulal, he's also director and co-founder, and also a career coach. And just for your reference, we do have asset branches in these locations. In Australia, it's in Darwin, and in Canada, it's in Ontario, and in India, it's in Cochin, and UAE, Dubai, and UK. And the speaker for the webinar is Mr. Matthews David. Matthews has 15 plus years of experience under his belt and is a well-known name amongst the Australian migration fraternity. He has achieved and maintained a visa success rate of 100% for all his clients who wish to migrate to Australia. And now I'm handing over to Matthews. Please welcome Matthews.
Right. So, let me pull up my, sorry guys, let me pull up my screen and screen sharing. Can you see my screen or you can't?
No, Matthews.
Okay. Share screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
People keep coming. Can someone admit them? All right. So, great. Good evening and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matthews. I'm audible, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. In today's webinar, we exclusively going to talk about IT profession. And there are two key factors here. We are also running an IT firm in US and in Australia. So we're pretty much well connected with IT sectors in both countries. So I'm privileged to talk about IT today. And I'm starting with the recent report from the Tech Council of Australia. So you can see from the slide, Australia needs 1.2 million tech workers by 2030. So this is a fact. If we know about Australian market, we are not a front runner in IT. We don't have a Silicon Valley here. So Australia wanted that to be changed, and we want to establish our own, Silicon Valley in Australia. So there is a paper called Towards 2030, positioning Australia as a leading digital economy in society. So if you're really, following Australia and the budget, you can see in the last few budgets, Australia allocating a certain good amount of money into digitalization of the tech industry. So currently, Australia is rolling out free IT courses. Can you unmute everyone? Then we can see. Yeah, they're pumping money into the Australian residents and citizens to get educated in the IT, and that because of this report. So I will send you the slide if anyone requests it, so you can click on the link and you can go ahead with that. So this is a fact behind IT, and that means it's 2023. Within 7 years, Australia's target is 1.2 million developers. I'm not saying like everyone is going to become from outside of Australia. Obviously, the first priority for Australia is to look inside and educate and train their own citizens and foreign residents. But it is a huge task, and as you know and we know, it's not going to work. Like 1.2 million of Australians not going to be in the network industry. So obviously they have to rely on immigration, and that is one of the main human intake into Australia. Somehow it's not going to next slide. So how to migrate to Australia as an IT professional? So I'm going to show a coding, code information. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Matthews.
Okay. So you can see ACS is there, Australian Computer Society, is your peak body. All the computer professionals' peak body is Australian Computer Society. So even if you like once you come into Australia, you will be registered with ACS. So ACS, you can see UNESCO code, that is Australian and New Zealand classification of occupation. So that is a standard occupation classification for all these countries. And you can see a medium and long-term strategic skill list, MLTSSL. This list represents the most demanding occupation in Australia. And the one who, giving the one who prescribing just below that, look, there is a code there, which is the UNESCO code, and analyst programmer, chief information officer. I'm not going to read all of that. I'm dedicating most of the time to Q and question and answer session. So you may already know a lot of these things, but if you are not known about UNESCO code and what sort of occupation titles and all, I will happy to share these documents, or it is easily available on the website. It's not developed by myself. It's for ACS. So there are a few occupations there, and the second list is called combined list of eligible occupation. That is from CSL list, and that is not widely available in Australia, but there are certain states and territories they have their short list. So you can see there are few occupations there, and when you go to the next pages, you can see is detailed explaining what is an occupation. If you can look at the course 261311 analyst programmer, the brief of that role is analyzes user needs, produces requirements, documentation, and system plans, and encodes, tests, debugs, maintains, and documents program. Description of employment duties is just prescribed there. So they would like to see like you are working in such duties, therefore you can classify yourself as such occupation, like under that occupation. If you are an analyst programmer, if you're working overseas, this is what they would like to see you doing predominantly on this. So if you go down, it's a big document, like 13 pages of document. Most of the occupation is there. I'm happy to send you that occupation if anyone require that. So just closing that slide. Coming back, I've told you about why IT is so important. Go to some basic questions around immigration. You may know that Australia is a point-based system. You require 65 points as the minimum to eligible to apply for nomination or a PR visa. So this will mean that if you have 65 points, you get invited. A lot of people say that as soon as you have 65 points, I know that especially in South Asian countries, a lot of agencies say, oh, you made the eligibility, please apply as soon as possible. But in the reality is 65 points is just a pass mark. Doesn't mean that you got invited with that points. But there are certain occupations you can get invited with 65 points. Even in IT, there are some visa categories or some state can get invited to you with 65 points. That I will explain it later if anybody has a question. We generally say scoring anywhere from 85 to 85 points can make faster invitation or likely to get invited. So how this point can be calculated? First one is your qualification. If you have at least a bachelor or master level degree, you get 15 points, doctoral degree 20 points, anything less than a diploma certification, 10 points. The second one is called age factor, where we get the maximum points. If you in between 25 to 32 years of age, you get 30 points. That is the maximum points you can get. But anyone less than 25 age, you get 25. Same like about 33 to 39, 25. But after 39, the point drastically 15. But once you turn 45, there is no PR opportunity in Australia other than Dharma visa, which anybody have that question, I will answer that. That is a special class of visa for regional employees who can sponsor analysis. And the third one is study in regional Australia. That's only applicable for people who currently are going to pursue the study in Australia. If you study in a regional university or a college, you get additional 5 points. Australian study requirement, again, for anyone who studied in Australia, who met at least 92 weeks, like 2 years of course, you will get 5 points. Skilled employment in Australia. I'll talk about number 5, outside of Australia. If you have at least 3 years of skilled employment, you get 5 points. If you have more than 5 to 7 years, you get 10 points. Anything more than 8 is 15 points. Number 7, inside Australia, if you have 1 year of experience in Australia, 5 points, 3 years 10, and 5 years is 15. The only one catch point here, you can combine those. A lot of IT graduates come onshore for their deployment, and they may have overseas and inside Australia. So maximum of the employment point you can take is 20 points. And the 8th one is called English proficiency. You have competent English, it's called 6 each in IELTS, equivalent to PT 50 each, or any other English language. You don't get any points, but you must have 6 each to meet English language proficiency. Anyone got 7 each or PT 65 each, you get 10 points. And anybody got 8 equivalent in IELTS or equivalent to PTE, you get 20 points. Therefore, a lot of people are getting, especially in IT, the PT is very, very, it's nowadays it's very common among IT people to have get the PT score, and I can see a lot of people scoring 20 each. And the number 6 is a very special qualification for studying, the specialist qualifications and qualification. That case by case, this depends on your degree also. Number 9, if you're married, if your partner have a skill assessment, you get 5 points. Partner have a minimum of 6 each in IELTS, you get 5 points. Or a partner carrying a English language, like a passport from an English country. There are particular 5 countries, they will get 5 points. If you are single, again lucky, you will get 10 points straight away. Or even if you separated or divorced, you get 10 points. Number 10 is called credential community language. That is called CCL. It's like interpretation, like interpreter. There are some certain languages in Australia accredited under that category, and there are quite a number of languages who knows to talk both languages and who can interpret that language in English. And you can study that, or you can get training and get that exam cleared. Nowadays, after Corona, you can do that offshore. You can increase 5 with CCL. Professional year, that's only for people who are already in Australia. In IT, you can do PY, and if anyone graduates, you can do PY and get 5 points. And the last one is the 190 and 491 subclass, that is the visa subclasses. You get particularly that 5 and 15 points respectively from the United States. All right, so I was talking about skill assessment. What is skill assessment means? Skill assessment is, the Australian standard of, For example, ACS is your body in Australia, your professional body. Every professional body needs to check your qualification and experience is equivalent to Australia, and they will confirm that you meet Australian qualification standard and education, like their employment standard. Therefore, you get the skill assessment. Therefore, you can meet the skill assessment need. Without skill assessment, you can't migrate. The skill assessment is the primary need, the primary the what you call for the that is a must to go ahead with the immigration. In ACS, there are bit of tricky in a lot of the cases. So when they assess your qualification, I know a lot of engineering graduates from Southeast Asia, even not an IT major, they move into IT sector because they get campus placement, good salary, and therefore, they have a good experience. They may not have a ICT major in their degree. So if you have an ICT major, for example, Bachelor of Computer Application, Master of Computer Application, Bachelor of Technology in IT, Bachelor of Master of Technology in IT, that is considered as ICT major. You still require 2 years of experience after the qualification completed in past 2 years. So that's what you require to get a good skill assessment. You still have an ICT major. You have an ICT major which is not closely related to your nominated occupation. For example, you have a master in IT or a bachelor in IT, but you're working as a cybersecurity, but that major is not part of your study. You may require 4 years of relevant experience to get. So your ICT, your degree or a diploma or master's is ICT minor. That means like you have a BTech degree in something else, but you may have some ICT, like 1/3 or 2/3 of your degree come with some sort of IT education. That will be considered as ICT minor. You require 5 years of experience to get the skill assessment. If you have an ICT minor, which is not closely related to your nominated occupation, then 6 years. Then, then you have an insufficient ICT in your degree. Then you might need to have more than that experience, and you need to have an RPL, recognition of prior learning. That is a specific requirement. I don't think I have time for that, but anyone have a question about that, I will explain that. For skill assessment, what do you need to submit? You must submit your qualification document, your academic transcript explaining what units to study. Like some colleges may not have a transcript system. You have an award certificate, like your consolidated mark list can be sent. The degree should have your award degree, university, institution, whatever the name is there. That's quite common in every work experience where a lot of people struggle. You must get your work experience on your company letterhead. So the company letterhead, they should explain when did you started your course? Sorry, when did you started your employment? And is it still going on? They need to explain that. They need to explain your current role, and they need to explain your description of what the duties you're performing. And they must have whether it's a full time or a part time. And if some of the IT companies, they will send you for deployment in overseas, and they need to divide that occupation and saying like which countries you worked. For example, a good IT firm, what can say Infosys in India. So you may have 3 years of experience with Infosys India, then you go to US, you may go to somewhere else in where you need to get detailed explaining like which country you employed and who are signing the document. You need to have this signature, phone numbers, and overseas emails. Unfortunately, many of these IT firms, They may not going to give you the detailed reference letter which ACS required. In that circumstances, we need to have a third-party statutory declaration. The third party is your senior in that firm who going to explain. There is a static forms which once you join with any of the Mara agents, you will get a format of statutory declaration where there is a detailed explanation of how that can be written. And that will be definitely come with some evidences that he is your line manager and he is working with that current or the previous payment evidence. You must have two type of documentary evidences. It must be, there is a lot of question people ask is whether I can show like I'm a cash in hand, whether I can show that. ACS never ever going to accept a cash evidences. So there will be two type of evidences. One can be your payslip, one can be your bank statement. If you are paying the tax in your concerned countries, the tax documents. Another one can be employment insurance or provident fund or any employment benefits. You can show that. So that is a must. You must have two type of payment evidences. I'm done with my my presentation. And I always like to give more time for question and answers. Therefore, people can get some sort of clarity on that. And please feel free to ask any question which I'm not covered during this session. Or if you have any particular question, please feel free to ask. If I couldn't ask, I'm not, if I couldn't ask here, I will personally call you and explain you after, after Monday or Tuesday, whichever the time. Please contact my team, one of the team members here. But I'm happy to take any question. You can type it up in the chat box here, or you can just, one by one, on your mic, and please feel free to. Let me just stop sharing my screen.
Yes, Deepak is asking for the ACS booklet. So can you please share that on the chat?
Okay,
ACS.
let me push my chat. But I'm happy to take any questions. So you know how to go. Okay. Did I came out from the screen?
Yes.
Okay. I will start chatting with everyone. Where's chat box? Okay, I will start taking some questions same time. If anyone got any questions?
Hi, Manjus.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, my name is Tathagar. So,
Okay.
actually, I am interested to file a PR for this into the same stream, IT professional. So, one question is, how many years or how many? What is the period it will take now if I file application now? The second question is, I have a first cousin who is residing in NSW.
Okay.
With the code 2747, but unfortunately, I don't see that code in the 491 option. So, is there any option that he can send me a sponsorship or he can send me a letter so that we can go there in a shorter time? And the third one is, how much funds should we maintain in the bank account or in the blocked account in this PR application period?
All right. That's beautiful questions. Thanks for that. So first of all, the time frames depends on how much points you can get it and what skill assessment you can get it. For example, a cybersecurity candidate, if you get a cybersecurity, you likely get invited with just 65 points because Australia needs cybersecurity specialists. We are in a dire need, and many states going to get likely to invite you on a good visa. So you might get invited very faster Whereas another UNESCO code, it is not widely, an occupation is not widely available in Australia, then they may take more time. So I can't answer on how much time it can take. It's completely depends on the profile, and it's completely depend on the need of each and particular state. The second question is about your first cousin. The first cousin who live in in regional Australia. Regional Australia is other than Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane cities. They can sponsor anyone. The sponsorship means a lot of people have this question. They can contribute 15 points towards you, and you will be invited by Commonwealth of Australia if you have enough points. Your brother and sister or your cousins who living in Australia doesn't mean that you can just get sponsored and come here. What that means is you will get 15 points additional to your current points. Therefore, you will be maybe front runner in that invite round. You may not get invite if you are less points, if you only have less points. But unfortunately, in that stream, if you are living in not regional area like your first cousin, if that postcode is not a regional, unfortunately, there is no such option as a sponsor under that sponsorship. But some states, for example, Tasmania, I believe they still consider. Northern Territory started recently. Even in some of the, like RDAs in New South Wales, may consider close family connection in such state may get invited. So that is depends on each state's policies. And the third question, the fund is not required for 190, 189 or 491 family stream. You don't need to show any funds, but that there are some fund requirements for some states, and that varies. And you don't need to show like liquid money. You can show your property and all, like the CS statement can be shown. This depends on different states. Hope I answered all the questions. And
Yes,
also, I shared that UNESCO code, that document here. If anybody wanted to see, you can download from the chat box because after we, finish this session, you may not be able to see that. And there is another question there. Is there a way to get a job in Australia while staying in India? You guys, we are one of the good, like not the biggest one, but we are one of the recruiter in Australia. We do have an IT firm. We do supply IT people to US. US is one of our best market, and we have clients in Australia too. I can't guarantee anyone, but if you send your updated CV to our team, we have our system. If any of our employees require such talents from overseas, we will definitely love to contact you. And there is a pathway, but there is no guarantee. It depends on the need of the employer. If any employers wanted to, taken that such profiles, they will contact you on behalf of us, and we will contact you and for the further reasons. There is another question. What about artificial intelligence, data science? Yeah, AI is emerging in Australia, and there is a specific skill assessment pathways coming up, and you have a good chances of inviting to Australia because you know that AI is the future of the technology, and a lot of things comes. Already the conversation start, and university is already focused on AI teaching. So there is a good scope. Any other questions? Or you can feel, if you don't have a mic or you don't want to talk, you can chat like this and I will reply. Thanks, Ashley.
Deepak is asking about the IELTS. Like he's asking, is it compulsory to take IELTS?
Yeah, because it's an English language country, you must provide IELTS as for ACS, for example, like for skill assessment, you don't need anything. You're only required to have the documentation of education and experience. But for skill assessment, for skilled migration, you must have IELTS. That is one of the biggest requirement for Australia. And if you are, if you're from an English-speaking country, or if you studied in English-speaking country, you don't need it for, for IELTS requirement. But we generally recommend you come with a very good English score. Your score will be, you can get the people who missed your first couple of slides. You may know that, you can score a lot of points based on your English language. So we definitely recommend English language is a must in.
Matches, one more question. So, suppose we have filed an EOE and we have filed a PR, and then I got a job. Fortunately, I had an option to, or I got a job in Australia from another employer.
Yeah.
So, meanwhile, can I migrate to Australia directly, or do I need any visa status, or do I need to wait till the PR is confirmed?
Now, if you're coming here on a working visa, like a lot of people are coming here, a lot of, you might know if you're already in good IT folks, they already sent their staff here as a deployment. So a lot of people come here on 482 visa or a 186. There are a couple of employer-sponsored visas. While you're working here in Australia, there is no issue that your PR application can be go behind it. It won't have any issue with, while you're holding a visa, you can't apply or anything like that. You can absolutely submit your expression of interest to some states or directly to Commonwealth. But there are some states restrict you to, not restriction, they might need to get a support letter from the employer because, some states need the support from the current employer to apply for your visa, but it's not a hard thing. Sorry, one more thing. Just putting an EOI doesn't mean that you get invited. A lot of states have separate application procedures. EOI doesn't make a sense there. They will look into EOI after you submit your application for extension. Yes, Baiju, sorry.
Yeah, so Lijo, he's a system administrator with 10 years of experience, and he wants to know which stage is more easy to get invitation for 190 subclass.
Okay. 190 is not an easy task for many. 190 is one of the best visa which the state can offer. So it depends on what you're going to get as a skill assessment. If you're getting as a system administrator, I don't think like it is very, very widely available. Like it's not on the main list, I believe. I'll double check that. Look, New South Wales is one of the things you can get invited. If you have a good score, Canberra metrics, Canberra is another one where you have IT is quite there. Adelaide and Tasmania, that's 4 states, I think, you may get invited. But 190 is questionable in terms of it depends on the points and depends on what they really need is. So there was another question there. I have 8 years of experience as a system and network administrator. My previous company shut down due to COVID-19, and I had worked almost 4 years since 17. Is there any problem? No. Like as long as you have your payslips, your reference letters. As I said, if they can't provide a reference letter, it's called the person who worked with you, the seniors or anyone who are a good contact. There is a process called they can put a statutory declaration saying that you work with him and so on. So this is your duties and responsibilities. There is a pathway you can get that experience letter. Okay. Any other questions?
Matthew, should we show the payslips for past how many years we need to show the payslips?
As like it's whatever years you wanted to claim, you need to show it because the ACS is known to reduce your years of experience to get the assessment done. So we will recommend maximum you can show, you must show it.
Okay, and the recommendation or this statutory recommendation, can it be from any other employers or only from the current employer?
Any employees, if you work in that particular field of IT for multiple employees, you can grab multiple years of experience.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there is a question about AI engineer, data scientist, machine learning engineers. So look, there is a conversation, I believe it is happening with ACS, and they soon going to come with a new NSCO code because it is pretty much new to the industry. And I don't think they are, I think they already sorted out that. I don't think that is already in the ACS skill assessment system, but I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I will double check it. And I believe there is a new NSCO code, like a particular occupation coming into AI. So it won't be that long. So another question, Himatis, I'm having 9 years of experience as computer network engineer, and I was working in Wipro senior system engineer. There is a good chance, that is a really good profile, and it's all about get the PT in the maximum score, IELTS. I will share that document again. People are saying that, I was using this must be. Okay. So that profile is good. It's all about you get the skill assessment. It depends on your education. If you get a positive skill assessment, we can definitely try it. Like if anyone's, like your company have an opportunity to come to Australia as an, like in deployment, you please come over here. Because once you are inside Australia, the things are very, very easy. Like, you have an Australian experience, and therefore we can convert that into PR so fast. We got a lot of clients who working in onshore. We converted that into PR. But saying that, there is no harm, like we can try from offshore. But anyone have that opportunity, definitely you must try it. I uploaded the documents again. If you are not getting that from the chat box, sometimes the phone, you may not get it. Be happy to send you, just request to Nigila. Nigila will send you that. Look, again, migration is not like from offshore. I had a client like last 6 months back during the COVID time. She is just pushing me like every week, where is my invitation? It's not going to work like that. I'm pretty much, tell every of my clients before I take as my client, migration is a journey. You can't expect a invitation within a week or two or a month or two. It is like a long process. Sometimes you get invited within a couple of weeks, a month. That's luck. That depends on the need. What we generally do is because we are here in Australia, we know the sense of each state, what changes is coming. So we make the profile accordingly. So the migration is a journey. It may take time. Be patient. We will get invited one day. That's all I can say. Make sure the ACS is an assessment body. They will give you a skill assessment. It is valid for 2 years. After 2 years, it will be get expired. So within 2 years, likely within 1 year is the normal processing time for many many IT graduates if they get invited. Any other questions? Can someone admit people are still waiting in the waiting room?
Is it possible to bridge between visitor visa to a work visa?
Yeah, it is possible. But again, visiting visa, until unless you have, your close family who live in Australia, and you having a good employment in overseas, then the likelihood of granting a visiting visa is hard. I see a lot of refusals in recent days because people who come here on visiting visa may go into other visa. The criteria of visiting visa, you have to be a genuine temporary entrant. When the case officers feel that you are not a genuine temporary entrant, you are coming here for something else like employment or just applying for a student visa, they will refuse the case. But if you are a good, you're getting a good salary and your family here, or you are coming here part of your employment as a business visiting visa, there is no issue. You can come here as long as you get a job offer, and if you can lodge a visa from onshore, definitely you can apply. That is the answer.
Okay.
But I may say about the study path also, because a lot of people who choose to come here recent times for Australian study, especially people who are in, like in IT bachelors, and they come here for 2 years of study in Australia. So the good thing about masters in Australia, if you are studying in a regional universities, you get 5 years of stay back option with full work rights. And if you're already married, your partner can get full work rights during the studies, and you get 20 hours of work time, and you both can work basically that 5 years anywhere in Australia. Now, you don't need to, within that time frame, everyone converting that into PR. That's why a lot of people are choosing that pathway in recent times from other Southeast Asian countries. It used to be like people, was not choosing because the study was expensive and people not have that stay back option. And, anyone who can work full-time job in Australia can earn up to 25 to 30 lakhs per year. So the university fees is less than that. So whatever is spending in Australia, you will get it, 5 times back during the study, during the stay back period. So if anybody keen, just touch base with that education.
So while on education visa also, if my wife is opting for MBA in Australia, any part of Australia, or let's say South Wales itself. So can I directly come with her on the dependent visa, and will I have the work rights there?
If she's coming here for a master degree, you have full work rights from the day beginning until the end of the studies. And when you apply for the stay back, there is depends on which university you study. If you study in Sydney, Melbourne, again not regional sector, you're only going to have 2 to 3 years of 3 years currently 3 years of stay back if you study masters. But if you study semi-regional and regional universities, you will get 5 years of stay back. And all that time you have full work rights. And the good thing is you can increase the point, Australian study, Australian experience, Australian, the PY, professional year for her if you want, and you can do everything there. And you can increase the point, and you can likely to get 199, the best PR visa, likely directly. There is a pathway like that.
So meanwhile, I'll call you back. So whom should I contact if I want to get in touch with you?
If you're interested, you can contact. It depends on which country you are. You will all get the contact details, or my host Nicola will send you the contact number, and you can contact them, and they will organize a meeting with me. And or we got 2 other educational counselors in my Australian office. They will contact you and they will talk about the appropriate universities.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Asik is asking which is the most demanding job in the shared list. The first page you can see is called MLTS soil list. That is where you can get direct 189 and 491 family history visa. All those occupations are the most demanding occupation list. So any occupation in that occupation list called MLTS soil. That is means that occupation is widely, in shortage in Australia. Therefore, that comes in that list. Every year that occupation list revised, whatever that occupation comes on that list is the most demanding occupation list. STS soil, the second page list, is not widely available, but some states and some, like territories have that demands, or some employers might have that demand.
I have a question. Is there a way to have job while being in India? rather than moving to Australia and then searching for opportunities? Is there a way to have job in hand before moving?
Look, it depends on your, you can definitely find it. We started a program called Workforce Abundance. This is similar to what you were asking. So Workforce Abundance is, we are partnered with a leading business firm in Australia, and they got lots of employees really want, the people to come to Australia. So if that occasion, the employees will hire you under an employer-sponsored visa, and you can come here with the work visa. And with the PR, it's not possible. The PR is an independent visa who are invited by state and Commonwealth to come over here as a PR holder. Then you are treated equivalent to an Australian employee. And it depends on your efficiency, depends on your language, depends on your core understanding about your occupation and your experience. You can crack an interview. You can crack that interview before you coming in Australia through, various digital platforms. And, like IT is, universal. So you can definitely, crack that interview and you can get a job before even coming to Australia. That is absolutely possible. Both for employer way or
What
state.
are the ways to reach out to? Yeah. So, what are the ways to reach out to such employers?
So in Australia,
I have
you
tried
have,
to.
yeah. In Australia, sorry, I will answer that question. In Australia, there are some relevant the employer, like in the advertisement platform. One is called Seek. Seek is quite well known in Australia, where they advertise it. When they advertise it, you can see sponsorship available. There are sometimes they put sponsorship available for right candidates. Even in LinkedIn is another thing for IT graduates. LinkedIn is the one you generally see that the sponsorship. There you can contact them and they will progress with your application. And you can also follow us at Migration. When our employees comes, we generally advertise in our LinkedIn page generally. And please go for LinkedIn, follow us on LinkedIn. If any of our employees, advertise, we will post that on our LinkedIn page. And we do, please follow our own Facebook page or all our social media. We do, generally advertise and update the Australian migration changes very often in our videos. And there is our contact details are shared in the chat box. Please contact in those numbers. If you are based in Middle East, there is a contact number. In India, there is a contact number. Or in Australia, there is a contact number.
Do we need to submit our birth certificate any phase of our visa process?
What sort of certificate is that?
Birth certificate.
No, birth certificate is not necessary, but it is always good to have birth certificate. Because a lot of the people birth certificate have some different names, then we don't submit it. Any other alternative documents like your year 10, year 12, or your country's, particular country's national IDs, anyone can be replaced for birth certificate. It's not a mandatory document. Because our time is almost finishing, I will take a few more questions, last 5 minutes. If anybody got any questions, not really like IT, like particular to that IT assessment and all, anything related to the immigration study, work permit, please let us know. And I will and also I forgot to say that we also got a Canadian migration specialist based in Canada. Because all our offices based in such particular countries, we only do Australia and Canada. And if anybody have an interest in Canada, let us know. You will also get 20 minutes of free appointment directly with the ICCR agent in Canada. And also, if you want a particular consultation with me, please contact our Indian office. You will get 20 minutes of free consultation with our concerned people in our either offices. So Canada and Australia, you will get that one. Canada have a
Enjoy is
special
asking
program for, yeah.
which subclass we prefer in case 190 is difficult for PR process.
No, look, when I said 190 is difficult, sometimes people get 190. When it depends on what state it is, it depends on the state. For example, in a lot of this profession may require in the state of in the New South Wales. They may be offering 190. Whereas South Australia, they may not have that demand. They will only going to offer 491. Each state have a different process of applying PR. So it depends on your profile, depends on the demand of such state and territory. We will create 190 and 491 accordingly. So that's what, sometimes I can't say like 190 is easily available. 190 is not rich, it's not a hard part, not a hard thing to get, but it depends on a lot of other factors too. Ashik is asking H1B visa. No, we don't do H1B visa for USA because we don't have a license to perform that. We only got license to send, for example, what we generally do is a lot of those people come to Australia. Once you become your Australian citizen, then we do E3 visa. For Australian citizen, they can easily go to America on an E3 visa, or every 2 years they can renew it, and then the employer can convert that into Australian visa. So we do E3 visa for Australian citizen who working in Australia. There are a high demand for the American employees who are trained and who are working in Australia get higher benefit in US. So we send Australian citizens who are working in IT can go into America, but we don't do H1. But anyone working in is Sulal here?
Yeah, Matthews.
Yeah, Sulal is the founder of, co-founder of Asset Firm. We do have IT sector. We send people to US, as I mentioned before. We do have some openings for US clients. Sulal will explain what sort of area we are looking for in a very brief. If anybody have a good referral, send to Sulal. We always have opening for US clients.
Yeah, so thanks, Matthews. I think the ones we had was about either for like SAP or Oracle, like it's all SAP related requirements, or earlier we also had Java and .NET developer requirements. So it varies from time to time. Employers they are not doing much of the same Java and .NET developer recruitment at the moment because of the demand. There is a slight less demand at the moment. But if you have like any functional Oracle or SAP, those kind of functional kind of experience, then there is still demand and you can reach out to us.
Yeah, we'll highly appreciate if you can refer some of those candidates, and we will talk to them if they want some employment. We generally offer remote-based work. So again, it's not common nowadays after the COVID because we've been doing this for years. So yeah, and it's sometimes it's the part-time also available for right now. Final question. Sorry?
Software tester.
Tester is also tester is also on demand list in Australia. Yeah, definitely you can get a skill assessment and you can file a Australian PR application. Tester is on demand.
What's the scope of finance analyst? But she done BTech in electronics and communication. All of a sudden, she changed her career into finance, and during the time she did MBA in finance as well. So, is there any problem for applying PR in that way?
So it's not related to IT, right? Finance analyst in.
Yeah, it's not IT.
No, it's going to be a bit hard because in Australia we generally need an occupation, generally need a particular education and similar experience. That's what ICS is reducing some sort of years of experience because some of you are not studied IT in a BTech or something like that. That's why they need to reduce that things to meet that criteria. So that particular the a candidate who have, different experience is going to be hard to get.
Okay, they will accept the distant education.
Yeah, like in Australia, as long as that lot of education who has studied to distant is not an issue. As long as that course is accredited, that college, that university is accredited by Australia, then it is accepted here. And that candidate, if like have a good score, the Canada is the right thing for her. Like Canada doesn't have an issue like skill assessment or anything. As long as she scored a good score and the age is appropriate, she can look into Canada. Last two more questions. Nothing? Anyone else? You can type it. If I missed in the chat, can you please read on the chat if I missed anything, because it's scrolling is.
Matthew, sorry, but wrong forum now. But how about how to bring our parents to Australia if everything goes well and we get the PR or citizenship in the next 5 years? So how about the parents?
Yeah, look, in the parent visa, there are few options here. Generally, it's like they can come on a visiting visa and stay with you for a few years. Like every time you can renew it, that is one option. The second option is called, you can pay some money and they can stay here like 3 years and 5 years together with you. And there is one called PR option. If your half of your kids are in Australia, it should be like if you have 2 kids, one should be in Australia as a PR holder. You can apply PR for parents, but there is a long waiting time for that. But there is someone called contributory parent visa. There are certain amount like 25 lakhs of Indian rupees. You spend for that within 5 years, they will get PR. There are some options there.
So, in your personal suggestion, either Australia or Canada?
It depends completely on your profile. Because a lot of IT graduates choose Canada also because they their wish is to move to America, and a lot of American companies are started their companies in Canada because of the visa is easy for. As you mentioned, H1 is hard now, so they moved into Canada and they started. They slowly move out from Canada 2 years late stage. So a lot of people choose that. A lot of people choose Australia. Australia's living standard is higher, and climate is not comparatively better than Canada. So a lot of people choose Australia. It depends on your like choices. Okay, there are some more questions. Can you read that? It's playing up here. I have completed BTech in IT, got 9 years of experiences in IT. Yeah, there may be a 2 years of deduction. It depends on what you studied in IT, what is the major you got in IT, and what's currently working. But your profile looks very promising, like 9 years of experience and BTech in IT. So you don't get, you don't going to lose much of your experience. Okay, it's almost 1 hour. I will take one more question. If anyone got any questions, feel free to do that. And as I said, you all entitled for 20 minutes of free appointment with myself or any other other Mara agents. If you have any educational question, Sulal or Sharath is our educational counselor also there. They will give you free advices. Or if you have Canada query, you can certainly connect with our Canadian ICC agent. She's very expert in IT too. Her husband is also very prominent IT professional in Canada. So she will answer any of those questions. But last question, otherwise.
Are you providing LMI visa in Canada?
Sorry?
LMI visa in Canada, are you providing?
Is if the employer requests that, we don't like, there are a lot of LMA sellings are, I know especially from some of this, the people get LMA and they ask you how, big money. We don't do that. If we have a genuine employer and there is LMA, there is available, then definitely We had some opportunities like few months back. We were looking for that. Fortunately, we got that from Canada itself. So what best point you suggest for Australia migration? I personally suggest we only take clients if they have 80 points. We don't take clients with just 65 points unless it is a very, very important occupation. So that's what in the very beginning, we say, a lot of agencies say, come and pay us initial fee, and we will take you, we give you false hope. Because we are here in Australia, we are here in, there in Canada, we don't tend to say this false hope. We don't going to give you that. We will evaluate your profile, and your profile is in demand. As initially Nicola mentioned, we never lost a case. We never lost a case in Canada, so we don't want to give a false hope for you. If we can take it, we will definitely advise you. It depends on your occupation, depends on your points. We will advise you whether you need to spend this much money or do you need to have that hope. Because during the COVID, because our clients, few of the IT professions are waiting such a long time. So we are very, very careful around taking clients. We don't want to give any false hope. So absolutely, when we contact, we will have a one-to-one conversation. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Nigila. It's beautiful. You have a good co-host. And thanks for Shravan who arranged this webinar. It's without much hurdles, we did that. And thanks for all the questions you given to us. Good to have you there. Good to have all of your questions. It's very, very good questions. Thanks everyone from Asset Management and Infotech.
All right, so thank you all for the participation. I hope this session was really informative. For more information, please visit us on our website mentioned, and also you can reach us on the our social media platforms that I mentioned. So thank you all once again.
Thanks everyone.